back to yet another beer show. As always, I'm Colin.
I'm Chris.
And we're here to do what else but review another beer.
Have a beer.
Have a beer, enjoy it. And today is another selection from Chris, and this is the Two Hearted Ale from Bell's Brewery in Comstock, Michigan. And this one should be good. I think we're both excited about this one. It's on a lot of different beer review websites. This is very highly rated. And there's a beer that we had reviewed, JT and I reviewed many episodes ago called Pliny the Elder, which is considered by many to be the epic American beer. This is by many considered either better or the same or just a tad short of.
But and this can be procured like year round, like consistently. Right. That one's, there's like a small window every year that you can get it, and it's really expensive. And this one is actually moderately priced, and I guess you have to try it to see if it's actually worth.
We don't know if it's worth it yet,
but it's pretty low priced for what I would expect if it's being compared in that comparison.
Yeah, and then Chris, you just went out to your grocery store to find this, right?
Yeah, it was actually all of my selections that for a few different segments we're doing have been from Wegmans, which I gotta tell you, I really don't like their grocery shopping because it's so disorganized. But they have this really awesome pub and brewery. And they have a really huge selection of beer where you can get all your standards like Miller Lights and Yinglings and so on.
Yeah,
and so
they have the huge cases.
But they also have these kind of like the fridge thing, like where yogurt is in your grocery store. They have just single beers and 22-ounce beers, like corked beers, and they have like weird things you can buy 6-packs. And for this one, I just went in and I picked 6 different bottles of beer, and it was like $10. They had like a special or something. Yeah. But it was really interesting because I asked the one clerk. He said, "Yes, this is a consistent beer that they have. This
is one they have all the time." So let's get into it. It's an American IPA, correct?
Yes. This one is it's the IPA, which is odd because that's the India Pale Ale, but it's the American Indian Pale Ale.
The American Indian Pale Ale.
Yeah. Manifest Destiny. So we just rename everything as our own thing. Wow.
So I think a little bit of that is you got kind of maybe a headier pour than I gave myself, but you can notice the head on it right away, and also a good amount of carbonation on the pour.
No, this one has it's a lot more than the brawler that we just tried, which was the carbonation is a little less. This is clearly much more carbonated.
It definitely a big nose to it. You can smell malts and hops right away.
Yeah, I'm almost positive there's going to be a really strong citrus flavor to this because it's screaming like orange rinds and lemon rinds.
Lemons and oranges, and yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the color kind of indicates that too. You've got this kind of golden, like orangey color, and
actually, if I were just being a little nutty about it, I'd say for an IPA, this looks a lot less filtered than most IPAs. Like most IPAs are a little more translucent. This is like has like and it's it's a frosted glass, but it's a little more opaque, just a touch more than I would have expected, which is interesting. I wonder if that's on purpose or if that's just
it'd be interesting to see if just how clean it is affects the taste. But let's give it a try. Cheers. It's pretty good.
Delicious. I'm biased because IPAs are really one of my favorites, and Victory makes a Hop Devil, for example, which is like super saturation by hops, and it's like I love that beer. But so this is, I'm like biased, but it's actually really good.
It's actually a well balanced beer. It's not just like the hops zinging you in the nose or anything like that. But
no, I think the first sip on your palate, you can certainly feel the hops on the back of your tongue and almost in your nose a little bit, but then it goes away really quickly. A lot of really hoppy beers, the hop sticks with you throughout the entire sip, and aftertaste it's hop. But this actually has such a really crisp, clean aftertaste that I guess what's the equivalent, like after you go smell perfumes, you smell like coffee beans, so that way it cancels it out. As soon as you take a sip, like you taste the beer and then it's gone. So
in a way, it cleanses the palate for you for the next sip, and that's not a bad strategy for such a delicious beer.
A little bit of not as much citrus as I really would have expected based on the aroma, but it's certainly there.
It's definitely present.
It's definitely there.
It's not. This would probably be a beer that would benefit from throwing an orange peel or something in there, but it itself is not overwhelmingly orange or lemon. And I think it's clocks in at around 7% alcohol, which is
7.1, which
kind of par for the course for a lot of IPAs.
Yeah, a lot of the IPAs, for just how the IPA is brewed, that it naturally will be on average at least a 6% alcohol
right.
So if you go to a microbrewery and you start drinking their IPAs, they'll say, listen, you know, switch it up because you're going to be on your back pretty soon. But this one, it's certainly one of the dangerous beer categories, I'd say, is that you don't realize how alcoholic it is, and you probably could have 4 or 5 and then you're like, oh wait.
It has almost, altogether it has almost a very lighter beer experience than you'd expect from a beer that has this much alcohol in it. So this would be more of a go to the pub with some friends, hang out for a few, than it would be a go to a party and drink these all night type of beer.
Yeah, this wouldn't be a pounder type beer, I'd say. It's certainly, like, there's some that I would say that you should just, you know, it's fine to do that, but I really would want to enjoy the, you know, what the beer is giving.
Not just because of alcohol, but because it's just really, really good.
Yeah.
So this would be the type of thing I would recommend. Maybe get a 6-pack if you can find one, and share it with a few friends, 2 or 3 friends.
Yeah, no, this is excellent.
And it's great. And this would be, if you had this while you're watching the game, it'd be the best beer for watching the game ever.
No, yeah. And I know you've tried the ETH or ETP. What's the
Pliny the Elder?
Yeah. PTE. So, how would you compare this to that?
It's actually really comparative. It's a really similar mouthfeel and similar flavors. And I understand now why on certain message boards this is right up there with that. It's a great, great beer.
So for example, because of it's so readily available and you can get it all the time, maybe in some ways it's, I don't want to say it's better, but it's nicer because you can have this in January, you can have this in July, you can have whatever you want.
Accessibility plays into how great it is as well. And it's nice. It won't be that hard to find if your store has it. It's got a cool label, nice orange color, 2-hearted ale, and a big fish on the front. So not hard to find. Just don't confuse it with. There's a couple different brews in the East Coast. Dogfish Head is one. Flying Fish is another. It's not from them, but it does have a fish on it.
Yes.
And it's pretty easy to find, and it's delicious. I highly recommend it.
I would definitely say this is one that would be a must try.
And I think we've got a little bit left here, so let's get to that and leave them to their own things. It's Pliny.
Premium.
What's higher?
Ultra premium.
What's higher than premium?